My name is Monique Wijn, and we start this webinar about the French amazing financial system, the warm money, how they create and attract budget for the new projects emerging. And we are very happy to welcome Vincent Rueda, who will present us Le Passage as an inspiring model. And so thank you all for coming. And I think, Vincent, maybe we just start and I give you the microphone. And of course, you can present yourself more. I know that you were former engineer in a maybe big company, I don't know, but now you changed your life in a completely different way and try to create, as I think most of us, the world we want to live in. So I love to give you the microphone, and we will, just for people who are new, we will do a presentation and you can ask questions in the chat. And Vincent, after the presentation, we will have a Q&A. And at around 8:30, we will have a little break with some music. So, Vincent, welcome.
Thank you, Monique. Welcome, everyone. Is the sound okay? Apart from my pronunciation of English, this is normal. It's not the microphone. It's me. Yes, I'm really happy to be here, and yeah, for your curiosity. It's really a privilege to have people curious about what we do, and that you might be inspired by it. So thank you for this. I'm Vincent. As Monique was saying, in another life, in a past life, I used to be an engineer for a big oil company. I was working in African oil platforms, not making the world a better place, but it was a still community experience. I was offshore most of the time, some kind. And then I did a lot of things. I became an hypnotherapist, and now I'm working for the Passage. And I've been building the first eco-village of the Passage out of France, in Portugal. And now I'm coaching projects. It's my, building communities is my main activity. And non-violence also activism. So that's me, but you're not here for me. You're here to, as I can see, I haven't read everything, but a lot of curiosity of how the financial part can be exported in other countries, and also the Eco-Village Fund. Okay. So I have a presentation that is the one that we did at the Gen, that I have to give credits to Sandra, the president of Le Passage, who prepared this presentation. I think it gives a very nice overview of the model, of the Le Passage model. Mechanisms, I like to say mechanisms because you can use them and tweak them according to your project. It's something more dynamic. But before we start, any questions, any needs about the frame and how it will be tonight, maybe? No? Okay. I will then share my screen. I like things to be dynamic. So if you have questions, you can interrupt me. Of course, if I have the impression that in your questions, there might be some answers in the coming slides or things that we don't follow, maybe I would hold your question for later. But please, if you have a question on the slides, please, yes, just raise your hand. If I will not be able to see the raised hands or make some sounds, or someone is tracking that. And can I have someone also tracking time, telling me every 15 minutes what time is it, so I remain a little bit. Okay, Monique, thank you.
Shall I do it? Okay.
So I will share my screen. Up. Do you see my screen? You're not supposed to see that because I didn't go at the beginning of the presentation. I will go. It has to charge again. It's a bit slow because of the screen sharing, I think, but it's coming. It's blurry, but it will become nice in a few seconds. And I will put the presenting mode in a few more seconds. When it will appear over there, present. And present. Welcome. Do you see my screen? Full screen? Clear? Yes?
Yes.
I need the sound. Yeah, okay. Thank
clear,
you.
yes.
Yes, very clear. Thank you.
So the main question, main pain Ecovillage might have is finding people and finding money. So this is what the two main things we try to address with Les Passages. What's an ecovillage? Sandra found this definition that I think resonates a lot. A group of people who have chosen to live together with a common purpose, working cooperatively to create a lifestyle that reflects that shared core values. This is, the source is FIC. But it's not enough to have shared values because you have to navigate the legal part. It's like, we like to say at Les Passages that a community building is both a startup and a wedding with the people of your project. So the finances also, the governance, how do you make decisions? Sometimes people have the same vision, but they have different strategies to go there. And also the human dynamics, the conflicts between people, and how do we navigate that? So this has the 4 pillars to navigate your project. I have to pay some tribute to the originator of the initiator of Les Passages, with Mika. He has a background in legal. He did legal studies. He transformed a really small real estate agency in a big network of agencies. He had more than 30 agencies over France. And then he sold it and he made sustainable construction for schools or big building construction. And now he's using all this knowledge of real estate, of legal, and of construction also to do what we call at Les Passages systemic Aikido, to use the strength of the system in the service of systems that have other values, ethics, purposes. Everything is in this slide. These are 8 of the core values that we find in most eco-villages. But then how do we make this legal? How do we make this really real in your agreements, in your legal structure and agreements? Human more important than money. No speculation. Money doesn't make money. I can recover my money. It's not a donation that then I lose if I leave the project. The balance between the I and the we, so the balance between the needs of the project and the needs of the individuals, I would say. No individual property, no individual ownership. People have the right of use of a private space, but you are creating a common good that owns itself. Nobody has ownership. Ownership is maybe one of the main sources of conflicts over the world. This land is mine, for example. New members are chosen collectively. It's not the person who lives who sells to someone. It's the people who are inside the project who are choosing who is coming. Shared governance, sociocracy, and really long-term sustainability. Every year we are more resilient, and it becomes more sustainable, and it's easier to get the project going financially, but not only. So in Les Passages, we make all this embedded in your legal system and financial system. It's not only, it doesn't rely just on people willingness. There is a safety net where it's all by the system you are creating together.
Vincent, I have a question about
yes.
No individual property. It is about the individual, right? But the community can have a property. The community can own the place.
Yes, even more, it's even better.
Yes.
The community has to own itself.
Yes, exactly.
Because it has power. Then the community, the legal structure is the thing that has power because it's owning the property.
Yes, yes, of course.
Yes, and in some way we are reverting, when we are creating a common, we are reverting the process where Earth was a common, and someone someday say, oh, this is mine, you want it, you have to pay for it. And this was the beginning of privatization. But before, we were only occupants of Earth, not owning it, just using it as every living being here. And we revert this process. Is it, yeah? Other questions on this? One time, two times, three times. So to have an overview of the framework that we use to implement this, there are the bylaws, the statutes, where this is really what is seen in the outside by the state, by the banks. So it's a bit your ID card, and it's the foundation of your structure legally. Then you have your internal regulations, that is more details from what you have in the statutes about your governance, about how you deal with conflicts, but more it's an internal document, but it's processes. It's not a list of you can do this, you cannot do that, this we don't need, or you can have in other documents, but not here. This is how you manage decision-making in more details. So your sociocracy, if you have one, or some other decision-making process, how you manage conflict, how you make meetings, and the integration process. So the integration process can be another document also that is depending from that one. How do people come in and go out, knowing that you want to be the opposite of a sect. A sect, it's easy to come and difficult to go out, and you want a project where it's difficult to come in because you need time to experiment with each other and to see if it's a fit, how you deal with conflict also. Before both parties deciding if it's a fit. But then if the person wants to leave, you don't want her to stay just because she put her money and now she doesn't want to leave, or she has a house, and even if she's in conflict with everyone, she doesn't want to leave because she has some material advantages. You want for her to be easy to go to a new adventure and not stay for the wrong reasons. Then, so this is more about decision-making, conflicts, and everything. Everything related to that. The ACI contribution agreements, so associate current account. The associate current account is how you deal with the money. How do you put money? How do you withdraw money? There is one contract per associate. And then you have the housing contract that specifies the right of use of the space. So it's close to what you would call a renting contract. And you can have some occupation rules that are added to that, saying what can be done or not be done, and this kind of thing. So with this framework, we implement these 8 core values as agreements that are legal and owned by the system. So even if you disagree, the judge will go back to this. Any questions on this?
Yes, one question here. The first the slide before, you had no individual property, and now you say the occupants are collectively owners. That means you're like you own a share of something, but not a typical house or something.
Yeah, it's this. You have one share, so you are all owners with the same weight of the cooperative or of the shareholding company. It can be a shareholding company, but usually it's a
Okay.
cooperative that is owning the place. But if you are not owning your apartment or your house, you are all owners of the cooperative that is owning all the apartments and all the houses, all the spaces. And in your space, you have only a right of use. So you can use privately this space, but it's not yours. Or you can use privately this space, but all the space are of everyone.
It's a
At
bit
the same
in
weight.
it's a bit in contrast with the co-housings that are booming in Belgium. Big old monasteries, for example, they are bought up. They make 20 units to live, and you can buy a unit for $200,000. Probably now it's 300,000, and that's your private property. And then you live in co-housing together. So it's not this. Oh, that's something.
It's not this at all. I know this system. I know that in Belgium there is one notary that is coaching all the project doing that system.
Yes, Woonkoop.
And I know it's really complex. Usually people don't even understand because it's really
it's
very
also
complex system,
yes.
legal system, and people don't rely on that notary for everything. So then they have to pay for him for every time they have something because they are not autonomous. But it's
Also-
better than what we do, than what usually is done, but it's far from perfect. Yeah. And on the long run, people can choose to sell their property to anyone, and the project you cannot apply this. New members are not chosen collectively.
Yes. And also
Yeah, and-
it's about one kind of people that has enough money. And for me, Eco Villages is also about people with less financial possibilities.
Yeah, you are recreating the world where the rich people are with rich people in the eco villages, and people with low income are in yurts all together in a low income project.
Yes.
So it's not changing the system. It's just another taste and color of what we already have available in our society.
Yes.
Vincent, can I also ask a question?
Yeah.
So everybody is co-owner and member of the cooperative, and for that you get private space. But do you have something like a renting contract for that location? Because in Netherlands, when you have a renting contract, this is a very strong contract. It's very difficult if someone is not functioning anymore in the community, and you feel, oh, maybe this is not the right member anymore. It's very this person is very protected, and of course it's good, but at the same time, yeah, it's also a challenge if you want to.
It's good in an environment that is capitalistic, where people are seeking for profit. And so it's a layer of protection for people who are renting to be not to have some power to compensate the power of their owners. But here, no, it doesn't make sense here to have this kind of contracts that then you are stuck with someone and he has power to stay even if everyone wants him out. So the thing is, because you're owners, you can just legally specify the right of use of the space that you own.
Yeah.
So the contract is not a renting contract; it's the right of use contract. It's not a, and then you can just in this contract make some. You don't have to call it a rent. You can just make the person that is living there, using that space, contribute to the charges. And as you are not seeking for profits, the only thing you are making people pay are the charges, because you are not looking for profits, you are looking for balance of your financial balance.
Yeah.
And then you are free. You can say you are out of the laws that are regulating renting contracts, and you can do what you want, more or less.
So if someone does not fit anymore,
you already say exclusion is on these criteria, and then you have 3 months, 6 months on the decision of the executive board that are the inhabitants, the occupants, to leave, and yeah.
Okay.
You can decide on your own because it's a right of use. It's not a rent. The person is not renting. It's one of the owner using one of the space privately.
Yeah.
It's not. Yeah, it's another legal relation. So it's not under the. And it's there that it's even better to have a cooperative than a shareholding company, because a cooperative from the initial philosophy, it's to make available for the cooperators some advantages. So this is in all the in the initial in the charts of all cooperatives. So it's part of all the system, and this was differentiated from normal housing projects also.
Yeah.
Okay. Thank you for your questions. Please continue. So the idea with all this is to do needs choreography, because we are in a world of individualism where we care a lot for individual needs. In one way, it's good. And we don't want to enter into the opposite, where we care for the project needs only. So everyone dress the same, everyone eats the same thing, because we are all the same in the service of a higher purpose. And we forget completely about our differences and individual needs. We want a balance between the individual and the us, and also a power balance. Usually, most of the time, we don't need all of this. We don't need these contracts. We don't need this contract. When we have a wedding contract, we don't use the wedding contract. If you are married, when do you use your contract? Never. We use the contract when we want to divorce. So it should be called, when we sign it, it should be called a divorce contract, because it's only used when we divorce. So the contract is what you have when you don't agree anymore, when you are in a big conflict, because you have projects, amazing projects, they have none of these contracts, and they last for years and decades, and they are really aligned with their values. And someday, sometimes never, but someday they can have a big conflict. And when people don't manage to agree, is the moment they open the drawers and they look for the legal power. And if they have documents that are made from the usual business as usual world, it's the moment where ownership will have power, where money will have power, and where people will be powered over, and we will forget completely about the values of the project. So this is why we call this a safety net. But it's also, when I say we don't need all of this, I'm being provocative, but it's a bit more than that. But because even, let's imagine we are living together in a project. I am the owner, and I have amazing values, and I'm really a human being that has made a lot of work on myself. So I'm really aligned, and I'm really open, and I'm really in togetherness and in collective and everything. When you will relate with me, if I am the initiator, I am the owner, and I have put most of the money, your interaction with me will not be the same, because you know there is something in you that knows that if you disagree with me, potentially the impact is that I leave the project or the project collapses. So even in the relational field, being the owner, having put money that if I go jeopardize the project, is present in the field, in the power and privilege dynamics, and in the decision making. Some questions?
It looked like your sentence wasn't finished. So even when there are different power dynamics and there is an owner, even in that case, it is so good to put a contract in case of, to make equality, to make
equality, you will not get equality, but you will reduce a lot the power and privilege dynamics.
Yes.
So that means that if there is no owners, there is no owners. If when you have more money, if you leave, you can recover your money, but it's not the project has mechanisms that enables to reimburse you, and that is not jeopardizing the project, then you are free to tell that person, okay, you are an initiator, okay, you put most of the money, but nobody is aligned anymore with your vision. So if you don't get in togetherness, if it doesn't make sense for you to agree with the group, you can leave. There is no impact
Mhm.
on the
So even
project.
Mhm. So even
And
the
this,
initiator,
yeah,
even the initiator can leave, you mean?
it
Yeah.
has happened in tous les passages projects that the initiators were, I will, they were not excluded, but they were asked to leave, and they left, and they had put most of the money, and the project is continuing.
Hmm.
So,
Vincent,
and this you don't see in a lot of projects. This, and for me, this is really a sign of the healthiness of a project.
Mhm.
Yeah.
You wanted to know time, no? It's 8 o'clock, so plenty of time.
Thank you.
Just to mention.
Thank you. Any questions on this? Reactions? No.
Sorry,
Yeah.
Vincent. Just to make it totally clear, when you
Yeah,
say that the
please.
owner, the initiative, I call it the founder. When the founder steps out, and even that person as a founder put a lot of money in it, he also or she gets the money back also, right? Because there's a legal framework. So everyone is equally protected. There is no dependency on this big founder person or whoever else. There's a kind of equality participation and safety net, like you say now. Okay, so
Yeah.
then I know for sure.
So,
I understand what you mean.
yeah. So even if the founder has put 1 million, if in your contract it says when the person leaves, you have 1 year to reimburse everything, it might be really complicated to find 1 million in 1 year. If you have your contract that say we will reimburse 50,000 per year or 100,000 per year, then it's way easier, especially when you have a 3-4 million project, that you are generating a lot of cash, that you have some reserve fund, that you already have some contributors, everything that I will explain, that enable all the mechanisms that enables you to renew that money.
This is where Le Passage starts in the financial part. It's a fund that goes across the project.
I will
Okay, sorry.
Well, yeah, I will pose too much details on the financial part because I will explain a little bit that, but just to take some height, you put in place at your level mechanisms that enables to have money that comes in and out, and to have a flow of money. That money is flowing, but this is coherent with the rest. Just to come back on the founders, yes, I said initiators and I said owners. Owners, sometimes the initiators are not owners, but in most projects, in a lot of projects, in a lot of projects, some people are initiating, are founding the project. They are making a legal system where they are the owners and the others are not sometimes, because they put most of the money. So they buy the place, they are the owners, they are the founders. We don't want them to be the owners. And founders, I don't like the word founders, because founders, it comes from foundations. It's something when you remove, the projects collapse, because it's the base on what you built everything else.
Okay.
I like initiators. I like initiators because you're initiating a movement, you're initiating something, and then there can be other people taking that movement and making it move forward.
Yeah.
You're initiating something, but if you go, the movement can continue.
Yeah, agree.
We call it in Gen when the founder syndrome. I like what you say, that the founder is maybe not the correct name.
Yeah.
Yeah,
and just so if it's the initiator, it's another mindset, I think. I'm initiating something, maybe I will not be part of it all my life. And as an initiator myself, I know we have a lot of blind spots. When I'm in the project, of course, initiators have an energy of taking the vision in the matter. So they are inspiring people. They are saying, look, this is the way, and people are following. The problem with this is that at some point, initiators will become blind to the fact that we are the only one believing in our vision. Our vision is evolving, and we are alone, and all the rest of the project is just not saying no because we have the power. So we become ourselves as initiators blind to the fact that we in the way we disconnected from the others. We had this, we embarked them in the same vision, then our personal vision is evolving, and the one of the others not sometimes. And if we are the owner, and if we have all the financial means in the project, there is a really high threshold for people to be freely expressing, we disagree with you. So when we lower this threshold, then it can become visible to me as an initiator that I'm becoming alone and people want me out. And then I can reflect, do I want to be part of this group, continue to be part of this group, and so adapt my vision so that we have a shared vision? Or do I want really to follow my vision and I need to find other people and another project? Yeah. And this is all power and privilege dynamics.
Very clear.
Okay. Yeah, question?
No, very clear. Sorry, very clear. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. So financial principles, this answers one of the things said at the beginning. Everyone provides what they can, everyone gets what they need. And the third one, only if you have the third one, as long as the project is collectively financed. In Les Passages project, in my project, you have people that come with 0. But you have people that come with more money also. And together we make project. And this is, for me, one of the main thing that is completely blowing our system, our capitalist system, patriarchal system, call it whatever you want, power and privilege system. Because we have people living together, cooperating together, working together with really different social backgrounds. Yes. So we use the associate current account instead of shares. So money is, you have one share, sorry for my English, for my French English. So every person in the project has one share, and the rest of the money is put in associate current account. You could put everything on shares. It's possible also. It's just there are more legal constraints and it's more administrative work, but it depends on the countries, and sometimes it can be flexible also, so we can use that. But we put it in an associated current account because then the movements are just accountable, accounting movements. And also in the philosophy is different because shares is a bit of the ownership, and associate current account is just my personal money that I put and that I make available for cash flow to the company. So yeah, just remember that we use the associate current account to put the money.
Can you?
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
can I just ask a question to have it really clear? So first, the shares, everybody has the same share. I mean, the slide before.
One share. In my project, the share is 1,000, and everyone has 1,000 of share. If you have 20 people, you have 20,000 euros of shares. And then if you put 100,000 euros, you have 1,000 euros of share, one share, and 99,000 euros in your associate current account. So in Vincent current account, there is 99,000 euros, and I have 1,000 euros of shares.
Yeah.
Yeah, I take an example. Is it more clear with the example? Because otherwise it can be a bit abstract.
And how is it when you bring in no money at all, like you said?
You have at least to put 1,000 euros. But you can decide the price of one share. You can say it's 100 euros if you feel that 1,000 will be preventing people from coming in the project. We choose 1,000 euros because we think it's an amount that is a little bit of commitment, but that any person that really wants to join the project can find. In the worst case scenario, he can have also flexibility on how to put money in a few months if he hasn't the 1,000. It's the case in that project where we had one person that we took and we lend her the money that she's reimbursing every month to be able to pay for the 1,000 euros of shares.
Yeah.
So
Now I hear a combination that it's shares with the ACA. I understood that you don't prefer shares and you want to choose for ACA.
Okay, thank you, because it enables me to clarify. Yes, it's both. You need the shares because you're a cooperative, and a cooperative
okay.
is a shareholding company.
Yes,
And
yes.
just to make sure that you are owners, you are part of the project, you need one share. But instead of putting all the money in shares, we put the minimum just for everyone to be associates, cooperators, owners, okay, part of the cooperative. And then we don't put more money there because it's more flexible in the associate current account for withdrawal, for the agreements you will put together. You have much less legal constraints on how how money can be put, how it can be withdrawn, and everything. And then you have a blank page to make your agreements on how money is being put and removed. Yeah, if this is the way we can. It enables you to function as a bank, even if you are not a bank, because people can put money and withdraw because they're associates. They can put their personal money in and this is used by every capitalistic companies in the world, in the capitalistic world, so in most part of the world, to move cash from one entity to another when you need cash, as a bank would do to finance some investments, just because they are associates of each structures. So they have shares in each structure. Is it more clear like this? But you don't need to, yeah. It's okay if you don't understand everything about this right now.
Because maybe I have another question, maybe it's detail or it will become clear, but the ACA is the Le Passage Coop, is the total bank of Le Passage, right? And the share part is only, no, okay, then. Okay.
But then it's a good question. The associate current account is within your structure.
Okay.
So in your project, thank you for this question. In your project, if you put 10,000 in your project, I don't know your name because I don't see it.
Riet.
Riet.
It's Riet, yeah.
Riet. So Riet, you will have in your project 1,000 of shares and 9,000 in your associate current account in the cooperative, in your project, in your thing. It's like you can imagine it's like a bank account in your name in the company. So when you put money, you have more in your bank account in your cooperative, and when you withdraw money, you have less in your current account.
Yeah.
Associate current account. Okay. So then also you can have contributors. Contributors are people that put money in the project, like you occupants, but that do not live in the project. And in every Le Passage project, in most Le Passage project, there are contributors, some with a lot. And it's people who are putting money in your project because they know that if they put money, it's not investors, it's not people who are looking to make money, but it's people who are looking for meaning in where they put the money. It's all these people who are looking for ethical banks. Why people put money in ethical banks? Not to make money because they pay more than in the normal bank usually, but because they know that if they leave the money in the normal bank, it's used to make money, and so it's blind to what it's financing. So usually it's financing weapons, oil, and things that are making a lot of money. So my power, I believe, is more with my money than with my votes. So if I remove my money from the bank and I put it in a project, then I change the world. Most people, I believe, want to do that. And this is a question I had at the Gen. Oh, but how do we inspire people to do this? Because we have to really show them how ethical it is and how it makes sense to change the world. No, I think people easily understand this. But what is preventing them from putting the money in your project is not that they think what you are doing is ethical as it's changing the world, is that they are not safe. They don't trust that if they put their money in your project, they can withdraw it. And that's why most people don't like banks, but they put the money in the bank. We put our money in the bank not because it's meaningful. We put our money in the bank because we trust the bank we will be able to withdraw, and when we can easily withdraw big amounts. If one day the bank is saying, now you can put money, but you have to wait 7 years to withdraw it, people will put their money under their mattress. So really the availability, the trust and the availability is what making people put their money in the bank. So if you recreate a system where people have trust, they have guarantees that if they don't get, if they ask for the money, there are strong guarantees that they will get the money back. So if there is trust, and if you commit in some availability, then because people keep money not because they need it, they keep money in case they need it someday. So if they can keep it in your project and in case they need it, they can withdraw it, then it might stay here forever.
But Vincent, in the meantime, is the community allowed to use the money in the ACA?
There is no money in the bank.
No, in the ACA.
Yeah, but it's what I think I understood the question. Maybe my answer was not clear. In the bank, if people go to withdraw money, there is no money. They have only maximum, if they respect the law, they have 8% of the money. So you can do the same.
But what is the function of the ACA next to the fact that we don't cooperate with the capitalistic bank system? So it's a internal direct bank system, but can each community have their own? Yeah.
First of all, it's not a bank system. It's illegal to make a bank system.
Okay.
So I'm always saying is similar, and it's as if it was a bank, but it's not a bank because it's illegal to be a bank. Okay. You have to have regulations and everything, but it has similarities in the way it functions, and people can put money on it. So just before I answer the question, I want to. My slide is maybe not illustrating what I'm saying, so try to focus on what I say and not what is over here. One thing also I see in project is that we are looking for money, and when we look for money, we want okay, I'm building a project, I need 100,000, 1 million, okay, but I want to make sure that when there is money, it stays. Then I'm sure I'm safe that the project will last. But it's actually the opposite. If you want to have a lot of money, you want to make sure that people can withdraw their money. If you focus on putting in place a system that enables withdrawal, you will have a lot of people wanting to put their money. It's the same and it's the same with people. It's the same in a relationship. If you fell in love with someone and you tell him, okay, I think there is something here. I'm really, I like you a lot. I would like to explore this with you. Would you like to commit in 100 years living with me? So that we make sure the person will say no, because it's too much of commitment. But if you tell her, let's explore this, at any moment you're free to go, maybe you will spend 100 years together. And if it's not that person, it will be other one that will come and have the opportunity to have a taste of the relation with you. And it's the same with money. If you want to make sure that people put their money, make sure that you can reimburse them. So the thing is, with your project, now we'll answer your question. You get a lot of money in current account. So you get a lot of money in as investment money in your cooperative. You use that money in the land and in the buildings. And you keep 10 to 15% as a reserve fund that you use for cash flow and that you have ways of renewing so that people can withdraw when they need. And you ask people to put money that they don't need, but you commit that if they need one day, you will make it available for them. Is it answering a little bit more the question?
Amazing. Yes, thank you very much. Very clear.
Okay. Okay. Any other questions on this? No. Okay.
Maybe not yet.
Excellent. Yeah.
It's
This
20.
is just a, yeah.
Vincent, it's 20 past.
Yeah. Okay.
Still lots
Perfect.
of time.
Okay, thank you. This is just an example of a project, my project. This way I don't have to ask someone else to. So it's a 200,000 euros project per household. We have 30% that is financed by inhabitants with an average of 60,000. This means we have people with 0, people with 200, people with 30, people with that they put in current account. Here, this is money in current account. We have contributors, so people that put money in the, so around a bit less than 1 million euro, 800,000. We are doing a bank loan. And this is also, the thing with money, you need to, it's, if you don't have money, nobody is giving you money. If you don't need money, then you get a lot of money. It's money that calls for money. So because you have this 30%, it's easy for this one to put 20%. And because you have this 50%, it's easy for the bank on a real estate project where there is the construction and the land in guarantee to lend you 40%. And because you have a project that is already 90%, then you can go to the municipality or to say, okay, who can want to make a donation and have his name on the project and make some, and you can find some subsidies. But for this, you need at least some people with some money. You cannot have everyone without money. Because, and you don't want this because then you are not making a project that is a social mix. So you are forced to find people with a lot of money working with people with no money. Yes. On the side of the occupants, you have monthly things to pay that will cover the charges and the cash needs. You have two things, the charges and the cash needs. So you have an initial so in the darker green blue, it's what is recoverable. When you come in, for example, in my example here, people here who put an average of 60, so people who put 10, people who put 120, people who put 200, people who put 30,000 in associate current account. This is their initial contribution. So this is what they, when they leave the project, they can recover. And every month, they put monthly savings. It's collective objective also that they can recover, that is adding up every month to their current account, to their, as similar to a bank account in the cooperative. And when they leave the project, they can recover all that money on an annual basis. But they have also things that are recoverable and that are to pay the charges. So we call it a social rent, but you could call it just charges because it's to pay the amortization on 100 years. So and with this money, you can make new investments. You can repair the roof, repair the solar panels after 40 years or things like that. The water, the electricity, the accounting, the taxes of the state. So all these are charges. And for this, the occupants are paying for that. And the interests. If you are making a bank loan and there are interests to pay, it with the charges that everyone is contributing every month. And I will go a bit more in the details on this. It's for the so there is we call it the occupation rent, but you can call it charges. In France, we call it rent because then when we give it to the some people can have some help from the state when they pay rent, but you can put it call it charges because it's not a rent. It's to regenerate the assets, so it's to pay the depreciation over 100 years. Usually, in 99% of the case, depreciation is over 20 years. This is, I would be surprised if this is not close to be illegal in your country, even if it's accepted, because most countries recommend to practice accounting best practices for depreciation, and accounting best practices says that an asset, it's between 50 and 100 years for house to be depreciated if it's not a yurt, but a solid house. And usually it's 20 years. Why? Because then the investing companies, they depreciate on 20 years. This way, each year they're saying, oh, we lost a lot of money this year because we depreciated 1/20 of the asset. So it's a lot of money lost. So then they don't pay taxes. And this is how also they calculate the renting prices. So with this, you have a rent that is 4 to 5 times lower than the market price. When you do your depreciation over 100 years, to give you a bit of the range of what you can expect. So if you know more or less what is the market price in your area, you will know that this is more or less 4 to 5 times lower. Then you have the charges to pay: energy, water, accounting. Usually people mutualize even energy and water, or they make ecological things, so they try to so it's lower than if you are alone in your house with one heater and everything. And then you have monthly savings. That is the thing that you put in your current account. So the two first ones, the lower ones, are money that you pay and that you don't recover. It's to pay the charges. And this one is money that you put in your current account and that piles up and you can recover when you leave, or to your inheritance, to your RNC or things like that. And this is to,
Is that a personal saving or a common saving?
So it's it's personal in the company. It goes in your current account.
Okay.
The same way, this 60,000, or if someone is putting 10,000, if me in this project I put 10,000, I have 10,000 euros in my current account. It's mine. The money is mine, but it's in the project. When I leave the project, I can ask for this money to be paid back to me, to be given back. And every month, I am also putting monthly savings. So the upper part is also going in that current account. Meaning, if I had 10,000 and I'm putting 100 euros per month, after 1 year, I have 11,200 euros in my current account. If I leave the project, this is what the project is owing me.
Yeah.
Okay. So questions before I go to more details about the flows of money in the perspective of an occupant.
And Vincent, maybe after these questions, maybe we can do this after the break. This new topic.
Yeah, let's do that.
Yeah, I have a question, but I don't always want to be the first.
Okay.
So if someone else has
So I
something
see a
to
little
say.
bit your faces.
Okay,
Yeah,
wait.
go
Yeah.
ahead. Yeah.
Because you said, Monique, is it the individual savings or the savings of the, what did you say, cooperative?
Common.
Commons. Of course, I understand. The explanation is clear. So it's of course individual savings, but just to make it clear, there are no common savings, right? The only savings, if we want to talk about that, is the building and the land that they are buying as a co-op. But they don't have money also aside that is building up. It's a detailed question, probably.
No. So yeah, I was focusing on the perspective of the occupant because this is one perspective I think. So I am the occupant. The project is financed with the initial contributions of the occupants, with the money from contributors, and with money from the banks. Okay. And then I'm living there and I'm paying a monthly saving that piles up with my initial contribution, and I'm paying also the charges. On the point of view of the cooperative, I buy a land and I build, but I have no money. I'm the cooperative.
Yes.
I have only debt at the beginning. I have debt
loan
to
when the
the
bank loan.
I
Yeah.
have debt to the occupants who are giving me 10,000, 60,000. I have debt to the contributors. I have debt to the bank, but I'm the owner. And also, but the part of the depreciation is, but we will see this in the following slide, will enable the cooperative to reimburse everyone after 100 years. Slowly, we'll reimburse everyone, and after 100 years, everyone is reimbursed, and then it's owning completely itself, also financially, and it's completely independent.
Wow.
And this is where the resilience builds up with time. So if you can, because you're building up a project from scratch, it's okay, it's an eco-village, but it's a real estate project. So you need some financial energy to take it out of the ground, to buy it in the market, and to make it happen. And what we want is to find that initial energy, put in place a system that is sustainable for now, for the group that is now, and that every year it's less and less pressure. So that after 1 year, 1 decade, 100 years, the financial pressure is going lower and lower and lower, meaning that if you manage at the beginning, there is no reason that you manage after, because it's just easier and easier. But of course, at the beginning, you need some energy to take it out of the ground.
Okay, let's have a little break now. Let's sink it in. And I'm sure
One
there
more
are
question.
lots more questions, but just
Okay.
let's have
Last
a little
question,
break.
but you will have plenty of time for questions afterwards, and I'm sure the slides will help. So last question
Okay,
before the break.
Maybe someone else wants the last question. 1, 2,
Go.
3. No. So it reminds me a lot. It's very inspiring about one project in Belgium. It's called Welenhoek, and to translate very literally, they want to buy the place out. They want to free it out so that it becomes property of nobody, but also not from the state, because every time someone dies or a part is sold, the state earns money on that. So it sounds like that when at the end of those 100 years, if you use that perspective, that the cooperative owns itself and it's protected. Actually, the state cannot make cannot claim it anymore, and also no individual can claim it anymore. So we call it free, buying it free, by buying it, breaking free out of any kind of system. So I just wanted to share this because it's super inspiring.
Yeah.
But they are having a hard time. Actually, he should be here, Reinout, the initiative.
In Les Passages, we have a project. We have a project where the people, the human part collapsed, and it's another group who went into the structure, and these people went out. So there was no buying, and it was not bought. So there was no taxes to pay to the state, because the structure, the common, was already existing. And it's other people that came in, and these people went out, and they just paid those people and give them back their money, so they could go out without making any. Yeah, the idea is, how do we take goods out of the speculative market completely?
Just before we continue, there are a few questions from Paul Hendriksen. He is an initiator of one of the communities. He's also co-listening. So there is no interest paid in the course of the years you are participating. So people put money in, and this is what you said, and it can be 0 or more. So when you leave, as a result of inflation, your money will be worth less than at the moment of entry. Is that correct?
Thank you for your question. If you are an occupant, there is no point in putting interest, because you will be the one paying them in the charges. It will become a charge for the cooperative, and then you will have yourself to pay it. So you have the two pockets. You have the pocket that is receiving the interest and the pocket that is paying for the interest. So there is no point. If you can do it, if you do it, the thing is, you will make people who put more money getting advantage of it, because you will certainly make people, it will become a charge that you will spread among the occupants with what they pay monthly. but the people who put more money will get more interest. So they will see more money, so they will benefit more, and you will increase the money differences between the inhabitants. There is a way to do it. It's with people who come in the project later. They can have entry fees, and these entry fees are used to pay people that put the money earlier. Because if I'm joining the project now, after 10 years, I'm selling my house now at the market price, and you sold your house to join the project 10 years ago, maybe it makes sense that I put 1, 5, 10,000 as an entry fee, and this can be used to pay the inflation for the people who put 100,000 money 10 years ago. This is a possibility, one of the mechanisms that is made available. But most of the time, people don't need it, because in the business as usual system, I pay a high rent, or I'm the owner, but I make a bank loan and I have to reimburse high rates of bank loan every month. So then it makes sense that to be able to thrive, I need to then sell at the speculative market. But if I am in a project where I pay a really low rent or a really low price to be there, then, and I can save money, I need to work a lot less to have enough money to pay for my home and my food and everything. So the money I make, I can save it in the project and have more capital when I leave, and I don't need interest. Instead of having money making money, if my work is making money and I don't use all that money in having a roof, then my work can make me save money. And this is why I can have monthly savings, and I don't need anymore those interests. This is as an occupant. The contributors' money, usually we provide them with an indexation on inflation, minus 2%. So that is, there is a bit of give, but if there is 10% inflation, is paid to them. And then we also cap it so that even if there is 10% of inflation, they will get it eventually, but it will be paid, spread on the next years, so that it doesn't make a high impact on the charges for the cooperative. And that's it. And on inflation, in an inflated economy, is the best moment to get a bank loan at a fixed rate, because the bank loan at the fixed rate will remain the same, but the economy will inflate. So if you pay 2,000 euros of credit today, during 20 years, after 10 years, these 2,000 euros are worth a lot less, because now you cannot be, people are earning a lot more money, the bread is more expensive, everything is more expensive. So in an when there is a lot of inflation, make a big bank loan if you have the cash collectively to be able to make the monthly reimbursement.
Very clever. Thank you.
Yeah.
I see a thumb up. And then there's a question from Jan from Ecovillage Bergen. Vincent, maybe you can explain how the individual claims on the ACA balance are usually administered. Do you provide interest, inflation correction, for example? It's a similar question, Jan. Are you still here?
The question was typed before the beautiful answer of Vincent. So
okay. So it's already solved, no?
Yeah.
Yeah, then Vincent, I like to invite you. I give the mic back to you, no? To continue with the presentation, and maybe it's as good because some answers will come in the next part of the presentation, I think. Also to you.
But we can check if there are questions. I'm taking them, and I will say maybe it will be addressed. Oh, yeah. But let's see this one. Yeah, there is one from Riette.
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 Can you put the microphone on, Riette?
Yes.
We hear you. How is it possible?
Other Riette.
No, there are two Riette.
Not Riet,
yes.
but Riette. Riette, your microphone is on.
Riet and Riette.
She doesn't know. Do you know?
She disconnected,
okay.
I think.
No, she's there without video.
Let's
okay.
I will facilitate it. Okay.
Okay.
Riette, you have a question.
I continue. If we manage to have the question, I stop to answer the question.
Riet, can you speak? You might put it again. If you cannot speak, you can put your question in the chat, Riette. Okay?
Okay. So a bit about the money flows. So I am an associate. I am an occupant. This is the accounting of the cooperative. In the accounting of the cooperative, there are the associate current accounts of that person and the associate current accounts of other occupants. So I come in the project, I make an initial contribution. I put 10,000, 60,000, 100,000. It's in my associate current account. So it's money that, as if it was a bank account, I can recover when I leave. Then I pay an occupation rent, or I pay it can be called a charge because it's to regenerate the good, because it's calculated on the depreciation over 100 years. And you can see that this is money. It's the depreciation is something in the accounting, but it's not going out. I don't pay anything for this. In the perspective of the cooperative, there is nothing paid. So it's cash. It's cash that is available. And it's also cash that makes that the cooperative, after 100 years, will have owned itself, will have reimbursed everyone. Then there are the water, electricity, the charges, variable charges, where with this money, the cooperative is paying the bills. Okay. And then I can have additional monthly savings. So the monthly savings that I put in my current account, and that can be used to reimburse the bank, for example. It makes cash available. And then you have a transfer with these mechanisms. If you understand what I am going to say, you will understand. It means you have gotten the whole complexity of the thing. And I know it's a bit complex, but it's the most complex it can get. So with these mechanisms, actually, you see it's a debt transfer. The cooperative has a debt to the bank, but each month there is a bit less of debt to the bank and a bit more of debt to the associate. So with the monthly saving, we make debt transfer from the bank to the associates. And it's different from the rent or this rent that is enabling the cooperative to own itself, because it's really money that you pay and that the cooperative is keeping, and that builds up our financial capacity. Okay. Then also with the additional monthly savings, you can use it to make current account balance. Let's say that someone puts 300,000, 500,000, but knows that there is an agreement with that person that she puts all her money, but she's retired and she has not a lot of incomes, and she wants 500 euros per month. So maybe 5 persons can put 100 euros per month. So then this person gets every month 500 euros from her current account. This is a possibility. And you can use also that money to make some provision for work. If you want to, for the roof, you foresee to need more money than what will be in the depreciation, you can make some little provision in order to make some little new investment with time. And of course, you enable withdrawals of this current account on certain terms and conditions. Not a lot. You can have, for example, for an inhabitant, he can withdraw 5,000 and he has to reimburse it on a monthly basis. And for a contributor, he can withdraw because there are other mechanisms that enables that. Then, so this is the basic. It means that the huge shift also is that just with the housing, just with living together, you are financially viable. You don't need to make seminars, to make agriculture, to make money from the project to have your financial stability. You have it already. Let's imagine that you have entrepreneurship. You have some people doing agriculture, you have some people organizing retreats, you have some people selling marmalade, I don't know. Any other activities, it makes incomes that you can use to pay the charges, to pay the rent. And so people need to pay a lower rent or lower charges, even zero charges or zero rent, if you have extra activities. It's not needed, but if it's there, it's even extra money that makes it even cheaper to stay at your place.
Oh, Vincent, I have a question.
Yeah.
How does this associate current account really, what does it look like? Because we just have our own accounts as a foundation and at this moment, and we have our bookkeeping system. We have nothing else. So
it's in the bookkeeping system.
Okay.
It's in the bookkeeping system that you have every associate has his current account in the bookkeeping.
Okay, that's clear.
You cannot make it. You cannot do it in the foundation.
No.
Because you don't have shareholders.
No, exactly. But I'm just telling
you
how
need to have shareholders to be able to have a shared current account.
Yeah.
In a foundation, you need loans and proper loans. So then it's under the regulation of loans, and it's more complex, and you have more constraints. You don't
So
have the
you say
flexibility.
that this associate current account is a normal feature for die andere organisatie?
Any shareholder
For
any,
cooperatives.
for any shareholding company.
Okay.
And the cooperative is a shareholding company.
And how is this supported? Is this supported by regular banks or?
What do you mean?
This associate's current account, is this supported by banks or is it? How do you support it? Is it also in the bookkeeping?
Yeah, when you have a shareholding company, in your bookkeeping, you can have associate current account. It means
Nice.
or call it shareholder current account, maybe, because otherwise I use two terms. So it's a shareholder current account.
Oh, that's okay. That's good. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah,
Thank you.
So
And,
for me,
yeah.
for the clarity, Vincent,
Yeah.
so that means every associate from the cooperative has
Every
his
shareholder.
own, every shareholder has his own current account.
Yeah. Every
Okay.
shareholder has his own
In the
current
booking,
account.
in the bookkeeping. Huh?
In the bookkeeping. Yeah.
Where is the actual money? Is it in a bank account?
Where is the actual money? So 90% is invested in the
Percent in the reserve.
The movement of
in
everything?
the sorry?
Sorry. In the movement, I said. So in the flow of the construction and the building and the investments, there is the 90%.
90% is used in the construction and the land and the construction, and 10% you keep as a reserve, but it's not because it's a reserve that you cannot use it. You can use it for things that you can sell back. For example, let's say I have a 4 million project, Colmeia. We have a bit more than 400,000 of reserve fund. This 400,000, we will keep 50,000 in the bank account because we need to have some money available just for every month. We have money coming in and coming out. And someone can say, I need 10,000. So we need 50,000 in a bank account. And for this, we need to choose an ethical bank. So a bank that is not using the money to make money. So this we cannot avoid. But we are talking about, if I'm talking about 10%, about 2%. Help me here. 10% is 40. So a bit more than 1% of the money. So a bit more than 1% of the money is in the bank, and you cannot avoid it. So choose a bank that is ethical. The rest, we use it. We can buy a tiny house or a yurt or something secondhand that we don't use it for permanent people that stay permanently, but that people that come and stay, they can use it. They can even sometimes pay for it. And if we need the money, we can sell it back. It can take 6 months, 1 year, but we can sell it back. We can also use it for, we have the plan to make a little grocery store with bulk. We can use that money to buy all the stock, all the bulk stock of, I don't know, olive oil, pasta, cans, even wood or things like that. And if we need that money, it's in our reserve. We just need to continue to sell that stock of what the people are consuming and stop buying it. And then the money is available in our reserve. We have a neighbor we like and he's doing agriculture and he needs a machine. We can make a loan to him and give him 10,000 and he reimburses 500 euros per month. And it's money that is available. So our reserve fund, the 10%, doesn't need to be in the bank. It needs to be in things that are recoverable at some term, not in short term, but not in long term.
Yeah.
Okay.
But worst case scenario, you put it in the bank, but it's too bad. The objective is to use it for the things that you need.
Vincent, it's almost 9.
Yeah, thank you.
Can I also ask one question?
Yeah.
It looks like you really find the balance between, I mean, that you're not saving more money than needed. I mean, you can have a reflex that you say, well, maybe there's some more savings from associates coming in. I paid an extra payment of the debt for the bank, for example. You know, you have this reflex to have more to keep your loans lower, bijvoorbeeld.
Yeah.
But that's not the idea, I think. It looks like that you want to have the balance, and if there's more money coming in, you make maybe an extra project thing in your project. I mean, you're not reducing your debts faster than just, well, like say, this depreciation of 100 years.
Mm-hmm.
Is that right?
If it sounds right to you, it's right.
Well, it looks like.
Yeah.
Well, it looks like that you're sort of just. I mean, like I said, normally, if you buy a house, and it's the idea that in 30 years you buy your mortgage back, and then your house is debt free. And you can also have this idea of your project that in 30 years you won't have any loans anymore, or 50 years you have no loans anymore, you're free. Mm-hmm. But it looks like that's not the idea here. It's more the idea that there will be loans, and if people leave, they get the money, but new people will come. So there's always enough money to pay back the loans. And
yeah. Why do you want to be free of debt?
Sorry?
Well, I don't understand why people want to be free of debt.
Yeah.
Rich people, they want to be always with debt.
Well, it feels like an obligation, you know.
Maybe it's a Dutch thing, Vincent.
Yeah.
No, I
Could
think
be a
it's
Dutch
not
thing.
Dutch. No, it's not Dutch. It's
Okay.
I think it's embedded in our system, and but rich people, first of all, they have the biggest debts. Even countries, they have the biggest. It's the richest thing. Countries, no, it's not anymore, but they have huge debts. Nobody cares. If there is a collapse of the system, it's better to have a debt at the bank than money, because then your debt is collapsing and you don't owe money anymore. So it's better to have debt. And also, you offer something amazing to people. You offer them something. When you have a contributor, Dominique, who in Ecoravi, he made the people, he signed the contracts with most of the contributors. They have more than 2 million contributors. He has people crying in his arms, thanking him for having the opportunity to put money in the project.
Yeah, so it's a
I
big
don't know if you can imagine, if you live in a big city, you have a shitty job, a normal life, you cannot escape from this, you have some money, and you know that your money, instead of you have this awareness that if your money is in the bank, it's just buying more weapons and doing some harm, and you have trust in this project, and you know that you can put your money there, it gives you such a relief. Then when you see yourself in the mirror, you're thinking, maybe I cannot myself go and found an eco-village and be part of it, but at least my money is making some good in the world. So if you reimburse all the debt, you don't give this opportunity to people anymore.
Yeah, so what you say is keep the debt and pay in this 100 years,
And even imagine in 30 years, you have reimbursed all your occupants instead of 100. It means you all have a lot of money. What do you want to do with it? You will have to put it in another project or to reinvest and create a new project. Otherwise, you will put it back in the banking system.
Yeah.
So people want to keep the money in the project. Usually, we have even people, when they die, they make it a donation to the project. They never recover it. So debt is not a problem. What you need is the initial investment. What you need is to have an accounting result that is positive, not negative. So to have your accounting balance at the end of the year. And what you need is every year cash to pay for your cash needs. Because when this is really different. You can have a negative result and a lot of cash. And this is, for example, Uber. When it was created, it has a huge amount of cash, but it was losing money every year. Why? Because everything was buying shares, thinking one day it will be, I will sell my shares higher because it will be worth a lot. But it was losing money every year. They had a shitty result. And sometimes you can have projects that have amazing results. They make a lot of money on the accounting, but because they have a delay on the payments, they don't have cash. So they collapse. And the company is crashing, not because they are not making profits. They are making a lot of profits, but they just don't have the cash to finance it because they have a delay with their payments. And what you want is both. You don't care about the debt. What you want is having a positive result and having cash when people are withdrawing, when you need for cash. If you add this, the rest you don't care.
Interesting, huh? Yeah. Maybe it's good to continue, Vincent, because some more slides, I think, no? As I remember.
Yeah. But this was this was the big chunk, and then we have some easy landing, I would say. So in 100 years, yes, you can come without initial contribution, but I assume that everyone being reimbursed, you will have at least put your money in other projects or reinvested, buying new lands around and helping other initiatives around. Okay.
I am interested, but it's about how do you organize this group diversity with all the participants that have their different share? I mean, different ACA, yes, contribution. Yeah. Is there a kind of estimation that you can already, like an advice that you can give, like don't have more than 10% people with zero, or like to have a balanced estimation to see if a group is healthy, if this is part of the guidance of Lef Passage, that they look how the total
it's really large. You can really, as long as you commit, the thing is when you commit in annual reimbursement, if you commit because of the size of my project, for example, 4 million, we commit in 60,000 annual reimbursement when someone leaves. Of course, with 60,000, nobody will put 1 million. Nobody will put 1 million because it will be almost 20 years to get the money back. So if you want people to put 1 million, it's not the good system. You will have people maybe putting 200,000, 300,000, 400,000, and it's already a lot. Because they will get the money in 5 to 10 years. And it's okay. If you have 500,000 or 400,000, you know that you will have 60,000 per year. It's enough to buy a new house, make a loan, and reimburse. And so you can set your life with 60,000 per year. You can do a lot of things. So yes, and then the objective is the average. You need an average for my projects. It's an average of 60,000 per person, per households.
This is the estimation already made. Average 60,000 per household. Okay.
Yeah. Sorry, it's the same amount, so it's a bit confusing. It's the same amount that is reimbursed every year, to people who live. But it's I could take an example. The average could be 70,000 per person. It doesn't have to be the same amount. It just happened to be, but there is no link between the amounts.
Okay.
So to finance our project, we say that we need an average of 70,000 of initial contribution, and then we tell it to people who come in the project. Okay, you come with you don't have a lot of money. Know that we have an objective of 70,000 in average. So maybe we can take you if we already have more than that, or if people coming at the same time as you compensate this, and that all together, we have an average of 70,000. And in my project, we reassess this every time people are coming in.
I think it's maybe good to finish the slides and keep the questions for after.
Yeah.
Because some are really specific, and it's maybe
yeah,
good
thank
overview.
you.
Yeah, and then
Thank you,
afterwards we take the questions. Okay, thank you.
Yeah, it will be quick. So this is just to give you the structure. It's the 4 pillars: legal, financial, governance, and human conflict management are the 4 pillars to support your vision and purpose. And these pillars needs to be aligned with your values. Otherwise, you can have amazing values and amazing vision. If you don't have these pillars, it's only these people who are supporting it. And if these people, they have a crisis, then it collapses. Yeah, just to open the possibilities, we created with the Passage this summer financing cooperative, but it's bottom up. It's the projects who are part of it and have the governance. It's a bit like the Mithausen Syndicat. There is a lock, so they interlock each others on these values: no individual property, new members collectively, human more important than money, no speculation, and being able to get your money back. It's all interlocked. So if you are part of this, you have to have this. And instead of putting the 400,000 of reserve fund I was telling about, you can put maybe 50 in the bank, you can put some in a tiny house, but you can put also maybe 5, 20, 50,000 in this cup. And when you need the money, you will get your money back, and you will get a loan of twice the amount for twice the time. So if I put 5,000 for 5 years, I get back my 5,000, and I get an extra loan of 10,000 over 10 years without interest. So it makes a leverage on the reserve. It means I can use my reserve fund as a leverage in this. And if we have 20 projects or 50, we have more than 50 projects putting 20,000, we already have 1 million. Today, it was created a few weeks ago. We already have more than 500,000. We plan to have 1 million by the end of the year, the beginning of next year, because we are the people wanting to put money goes faster than our capacity to make the contracts. So we are dealing with that, but we will have a lot of money in this cooperative, and then with this money we are financing. We are making loans of 50, 100,000. These projects are deciding together how they are financing, which project they are financing. So this is the CMA. And just conclusion, when you want something, the whole universe conspires to allow you to realize your dream. This is Sandra who found this quote. It's from Paulo Coelho, a Brazilian author. And that's it. Yes, this is important. We have a welcoming Q&A session every Friday. No, it's not this time. The time is wrong. Go on the internet site. It's from CET. It's from 5 to 6 p.m. CET. And it's you go on our internet in our site, lepassage.org. Then you click international, and then the first thing you see is this information about the welcoming session that is every week. It's mainly me. I'm here, and groups come, people come, and we are just available for questions for 1 hour. So if there's one person, it's one person session. If it's 2, 3, 4 person, we rotate, everyone asks a question.